Core computing, rocking the mic. Self-hosting, 2/7 all day and night. Server racks and storage arrays. Be prepared, we never went away.
So something else I've been up to is I've been building Hackintoshes. It's kind of like a thing that I like to do. I like to see what devices I can push myself to install it on and get working. And so far I've got another two devices to add to my list. So one of the I'll show you on my phone in a second. One of these devices is a Lenovo Think Centre M720Q, and this has a 2.5 gigabit NIC, which is working. I have to give thanks to Orilla for this starting build, so to speak. He gave the first EFI for it. I then modified that EFI to include the 2.5 gig, and I changed the SM BIOS and quite a few other bits to get it all nicely syncing and working. And then the other the other Hackintosh I've got working is a Gigabyte Z Gigabyte Z390UD. Now this is a home build. I built this from source. I'm waiting on a part that's going to be arriving in the next few days, which is an RX 560. Now this build, I think I'm going to replace Windows with this build, because for a while now macOS has been pulling me in even more and more. Now I'm not like an Apple only person. I use Apple, I use Android, I use Windows, Linux. Like, I use all the operating systems. But for a daily driver, my Lenovo Think server, which has been phenomenal, it's got a big GPU in it, 24 gigs of RAM. It doesn't have the same ads and like crap that comes with Windows, and that's for someone. You pay for a Windows license now. I go to Gamers Outlet and it's like £5, so it's still quite cheap. But you pay for something, you don't expect to be blasted with adverts, and you don't expect, like, when you search for an app, say OBS Studio, for it to start then coming up with Bing search results for OBS, or just general like adware. Microsoft could have gone on a completely different direction and made it into a real premium product and made it just nice to use, but instead they went for the advertiser route and quick money. And now when you search in Windows for simple things, it will come up with just a load of adverts, and that's really annoying. It just gets in your way. So I've been thinking about moving to Hackintosh full time and just getting rid of Windows. But at the minute, my PC is an AMD system. It's an AMD with an NVIDIA GPU. Now, I do have under the HP system over there that is an Elite Desk 705. I'll go over to screen capture. So this is the PC here. So this is seeing if there's any EFIs already made, which there wasn't, so it means that I have to make it from source. So I really like these little thin clients. They're just efficient, they're great. Now the one big difference with this is this can actually take a GPU, and it can actually take an RX 550. If you do 704 G4 and then do GPU and then do RX 550, this is what got me interested in this machine. Now there's already quite a few videos on it, and finding these GPUs are quite hard. You have to get them imported, but it is possible. So yeah, you can put a little discrete GPU in there and have your CPU plus your SSD and all the rest of it. So they're a really good little unit. And if you get them at a good price, I mean, this is a little bit overpriced. I definitely didn't pay this. If you can get them at a good price, they're well worth it. So Hackintoshes are possible, but they're a lot more work, and that's why I end up getting this unit to try and practice and make a really good EFI for this build, because there isn't one at the minute. And once you start understanding how the macOS UEFI works, and you've done a few builds, you start knowing issues before they happen, or you start seeing that actually that can't go, it needs this boot argument, it might need this, and there's people that run a business doing this. Now, obviously, we know that we're only going to have about 8 or 9 years left of Hackintosh, and then it's up in the air what happens. It's unfortunate, but Apple have moved into the M1 series. Yeah, I have a MacBook Pro, an M1 MacBook Pro. Um, it's good, but there's a few things that bug me. One of the ones is clamshell mode. I have a dock for it, but I can't use the dock without having the power plugged in. You can use tools like amphetamine, but I don't know why it doesn't seem to work. It just doesn't work half the time. So there's a few things that bug me. Eventually, I might move over to something like a Mac Mini, an M1 Mac Mini. Just kind of sell some of the equipment I've got now and then buy that. That might be an option. Just because everything's moving in that direction for desktop daily use, so that's definitely an option. But I'll cut now to the build and kind of show you what it is. And as always, any EFI that I always make public available on GitHub. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Hackintosh community is built on the open source foundations, so you can't necessarily charge people for open source tools and open source things. Now you could say, okay, well, I put all my work into making this EFI. Well, yeah, but you made it on open source tools, so you can make other people's lives a lot easier and a lot more helpful by sharing that. Some people are very sort of shirty about it, and they even charge people for the EFIs. Now, there's one company that I'm thinking of. I've spoke to the person who runs the company. They do seem really nice, and they don't just charge for the EFI. They actually help you with the install process. So I can kind of understand that. The Hackintosh Expert, they seem really okay. So I can understand that process, but there's other people on YouTube that just simply just charge for the EFI, and that I do have an issue with. So let's move over the builds, and then you can, if you've got this device and you want to download the EFI, it's on GitHub, and yeah, you can download it, make your boot install, and you're ready to go. So this is the Gigabyte system. This isn't the GPU that's going to stay in it. This is just one I needed. I just needed a GPU. So at the minute when this boots up, it only has 7 megabytes of RAM. So the acceleration isn't there. It does boot up, but I've got a GPU coming that will replace this, and then that will change. I'll change the EFI for it. So I'm going to boot it up. And yes, I am using tweezers. I have got a... let me check this on actually first. There we go. So you can see there the Orilla logo came up. Again, this doesn't have the acceleration yet, but once I've got the RX 550, I'll get the acceleration working. So I'll update it on GitHub anyway. As soon as I get the RX 550, I'll update it. But this has been a system that I've wanted to get working for quite a while. There was just lots of little complexities to it to get it working. Let's try and move this out of the way. Sorry about this very... So you can see it when I try and close things, the acceleration will just take a little while, but that's quite standard for this. Let me go to displays and just change this. Show all resolutions. But yeah, it's working. The SM BIOS I went with was the Mac Pro SM BIOS, and yeah, that's that. So that's that one, and now I'll move on to the Lenovo. So yeah, originally this did have Proxmox on it, but I noticed that the Lenovo systems just seem to really do well with Hackintosh. They have like Intel GPUs, and they just seem to do really well with Hackintosh. So it's been something on my mind to do it with this for a while, but getting the 2.5 gig NIC working again was, you know, a big plus in this system, because it just makes it that much smoother and faster really. So yeah, and you can see straight away this acceleration is working. If I get the, nope, it's not in. Let me turn that, put that in. And all the USB ports, everything works in it, so there's nothing that doesn't work. And I think this SM BIOS is the Mac Mini SM BIOS. Run normally. So you can see the difference. There's a lot more, obviously, acceleration. Oh no, sorry, it's an iMac BIOS. iMac BIOS with Intel UHD 630 graphics, 1.7 6-core i5, 12 gigs of RAM, macOS Sonoma, and then do system report, and then go to, where's network, Ethernet. So this has the onboard Intel Gigabit connection, and then it has the i225-V 2.5 gig. So this is the one, maximum speed 2.5 gig. So this is the one that's working now with a patch, with a macOS Kext patch, and this works. So just to let you guys know what is the 2.5 gig that you want to get working, well, I can confirm that this one does work. So as always, the EFIs will be down below. I know it looks very orange in this room, just the light imbalance and different bits. But yeah, the EFIs will be down below, and I'll see you in the next one. If you have any comments, please leave them down below as well. And thank you to all the new subscribers. It's been great to see the channel, you know, just starting to take off and take over. The support means so much, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to be focusing a lot more longer featured videos. I'm just a bit wrapped for space in here, that's all. So hopefully I've got a few ideas coming up, and I'm going to be focusing on longer videos. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.